every time I walk through the door, my mom, usually would say assalamu alaikum to me. She wouldn't even say this. She's like, did you make money today? Right. So if you put in the action, you don't know how fast those results are going to come. You can go crazy without that connecting those dots. An extra hour a day than you, let's say, over the next 365 days, that's an extra 365 hours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khair for joining us for another episode of Halal Finance Hub. Today, I have with me the boss, the head honcho, someone that alhamdulillah has been an integral part of my life from a mentor perspective, from a leader perspective, but also, someone who I've seen build something amazing. And he comes from humble beginnings and trying to figure out his way in life and, working through the schooling and the jobs and the work experience, trying to figure out family, just to then take it all and find something that he is super passionate about, something that he loves to do, something that he believes needs to be changed in this world. And then he went ahead and did the thing. And I don't think that everyone can say that. I don't think that everyone can say that they work with someone like that. And so it's an honor and a pleasure to sit down and, have a conversation around that with Dr. Mohamad Sawwaf. Jazakallah khair for joining us.
Well, yeah, jazakallah khairan, and it's an honor for me to be here.
Stop playing. I think that's one thing about him. I think that he does a good job of finding that in the people that he's with, and so I appreciate that because I believe you actually. I believe that you actually believe that. So jazakallah khair. I think I see you here dressed well all the time and
I put this on for you.
Listen, stop. But I think the thing is you've seen a lot of different versions of this world. You grew up in Scarborough, Toronto.
Parkdale, Toronto.
I don't know if it was downtown. Parkdale, Scarborough. Like you've been around, and then you've worked on Bay Street. You've in the startup world. I think that you've seen a lot of versions. Do you have a favorite version?
The favorite version of finance is the current one.
Oh, like the current workplace, the current situation,
the current situation. The workplace is what we've made of it, what we've created it with. With the people that we brought on board. The previous versions, the startup world, they're definitely great experiences. I wouldn't be here today without those experiences. I wouldn't be here today without those learnings. I wouldn't be here today without those interactions. Those mentors. I tell people that I had to kind of go through, the Western form of finance in order to get me here. And I think that there are a lot of people in Islamic finance that don't come from a background of Western finance because of, I don't want to get into, impermissible income or dealings. And I get that. But there is something to be said around like, understanding that system, understanding the flaws of that system, and then taking those learnings and saying, well, you know what, there is a better form of it, there's a better version of it. Let me see if I can fix it. Let me see how I can close those gaps.
I mean, it's the whole know thy enemy. I mean, I'm not going to call it the enemy, but that's the whole thing, right? Like you can't change a system, you can't change an environment, you can't change something that you know absolutely nothing about, right? The ins and outs of it, all that stuff. But I think, what were some moments during those times, like what are some of those moments that you touched on that actually allow you to thrive or allow you to enjoy the current stage that you're in? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Managing your daily finances should not feel like you have to compromise your beliefs and your values. This is where Manzil money comes in. It's not just a place to keep your paycheck, but also a place to uplift and build the community. When you choose Manzil Money, you are also having an impact in the community, helping people buy their first homes and stay aligned with values that you believe in a 100% halal ecosystem. Stop settling for standard banking and start building a legacy. Join Manzil Money today at manzil.ca/money. Jazakallah khair. And I'm talking like specific stories.
Yeah. I think the general thing that I bring to the table today is my ability to network, my ability to sell. And I don't mean sell in a sleazy way, but I mean like sell in the form of how do I convince people that, you know, what I'm here to build, what we're here to support, and kind of create this industry. How do we create a convincing argument around that? And it has to be formed within facts. I love to debate when and especially when facts are involved. I don't like to, you know, speak anecdotally. I don't like to form an opinion that isn't grounded or rooted within, you know, let's call it primary research, you know, evidence-based research. And so I take that attitude and those learnings and use them today, right? Because there's a whole mechanism of education and awareness that's required, that's continually being done in order to bring people on board with Islamic finance in Canada, in North America in general, whether it be politicians, whether it be bank execs, whether it be strategic partners, potential investors. There is still a large gap when it comes to their understanding or the proper understanding of Islamic finance versus their understanding of Islamic finance.
But I mean, were you always like this? I feel like this is the Dr. Mohamad Sawwaf talking, right? Like you had to go through this thesis and this, but were you always like this where, you know, you always approached parts of your life, things like, take us back a little bit. You were originally a poli-sci major. Is that a thing?
Life science major.
Life science major. Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up, right? Like my undergrad was in life sciences.
Yeah.
So
that is evidence-based or
evidence-based. We were in the labs, right? We were always, you know, looking at hypotheses, and variables, dependent, independent, like all that stuff, right? What are the facts? What's the evidence? What can you put together, and how do you make a story around that, and a believable one, right? You know, there's a lot of storytelling in our business for people to understand, right, what it means to be Muslim and what it means to not involve yourself in riba. What do you, like they say, what do you mean there's no interest? Like, is it free? No, it's not free. But when I say it's 0% interest, they think it's free. And just because it is interest free doesn't mean that it's profit free, right? And so changing the viewpoint, the mindset of the meaning, right, of Islamic finance. Again, it's actually surprising how many people haven't been introduced to Islamic finance, and even the ones that have been introduced to it have been introduced to it in a wrong way.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And so you have to kind of retrain them, like they have to unlearn what they've been, you know, told or educated. And then you say, no, this, like, there's so many times I've been in meetings like, oh, well, it wasn't shared to me in that way or in that manner, and in a positive way. Right. And then they say, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. I can get on board with that. You know, versus like, I don't know what was said to them.
Lay down the Sharia law.
More like, oh, you know, here's a manipulative way of doing it, or you're cutting corner, or you're in the gray zone. Like, there's no need, right, to kind of like hide behind, you know, a fictional, you know, lesson or something that you've created. Like, the facts are the facts. Understand. And if you don't understand them, then don't approach it in that way. Just, you know, take the time to learn, take the time to understand, and create a compelling story where people can say, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. It's a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I can understand it, and I can see why.
Yeah.
You know, that's positive for you guys, and that's the way you guys want to do it.
Yeah. So I guess so we do go back and life sci major. It sort of connects. I actually didn't think of it that way. I just thought, man, he's just trying to get his undergrad and move on to the next thing. You know,
I was supposed to be a doctor, medical doctor.
A medical
that didn't happen. Yeah, let's be specific here. Definitely disappointed my parents in more ways than one.
Yeah, you still got the DR before it. But so after that, you know, I think that's when you started entering the business world.
Immediately,
right?
Yeah.
And then somewhere in between there was the masters.
So the masters came many years later, 7 years later.
Yeah.
And that was really around the time where I kept hitting that corporate ceiling.
Yeah.
And I kind of did a little bit of a reflection, and I said, you know, is it because I have a degree in science that I don't have a formal degree in finance?
Yeah.
You know, I have the experience of finance, but do I really understand the principles of finance?
Yeah.
And, you know, most people in finance, you see that like anyone that's in a leadership role, or a senior leadership role, I was in a middle, let's call it leadership role, middle management. They have MBAs. Yeah. So I said, you know what?
Let's pursue
this. My job kind of got a little bit redundant, like in the sense that like I knew everything, every day was the same. It was kind of boring. It was repetitive. I didn't feel like I was expanding.
Being challenged enough.
Definitely not challenged enough. Definitely not making an impact. That was a big reason why I made some moves career-wise. And I didn't say I wanted to stop. I just said I need to keep learning. Yeah. And I did my MBA part-time. Yeah. At the Rotman School of Management. And there were some sentiments within the community at the time around, you know, the lack of products and services within the Islamic finance space.
Yeah. But before we get there, though, I think what I do want to talk about is that middle portion. You know, I think, you know, you're in your 20s. Yeah. Right. Wall Street, you know, Bay Street. Sorry, well, you know, I'm big time. I think, Bay Street. The finance world, to last 7 years in the finance world and continue moving up is not like anything small. To move up in the finance world, to continue to grow, to continue to do better, you know, that's when, you know, the golfing starts and the networking starts and all of that stuff, right? It's a good life and on paper it seems, you know. I think talk to us about that though, because in your 20s, that is very attractive.
Super attractive. You know, I got into that world not knowing any of that stuff, right? And there's senior advisors in my office that are like, yeah, you know, we're going golfing.
Yeah, let me show you the ropes.
I'm like, what are you talking about, right? Like, it's a Wednesday. You know, how are you taking this time away? And you know, summers are fully off. You know, holiday season, March break, and I'm just like, okay, like, you know, there is a way. Like, when I was a kid, I thought earning $100,000 was like the ultimate goal. Like that was it. Like, you earned $100,000 like an income, and you're set. Yeah. These guys were earning multiples of that. And I'm like, what? And it's actually encouraging, right? Like, I took that as a sign of encouragement. I looked at that as like, okay, you guys aren't doing anything special, really. Yeah. Like, you have a system, you repeat it over and over again, and then you build your practice, you build your business, you do a really good job servicing your clients, you give them the right advice. Like, imagine as a 22-year-old, you know, I'm giving advice to 60, 70-year-old people about what to do with their money.
And they have a lot of money sometimes.
Of course. We're talking retirement and pension plans and estate planning and tax planning. And, you know, there's definitely some imposter syndrome there, but I love numbers. I love facts. I always used to say, like, listen, like, investments are a matter of opinion. You can pick and choose whatever you want based on whoever says and what you feel like. Yeah. Taxes are a matter of fact. Like, the rules are the rules. Yeah. You know, this is how you can save taxes, right? And you can use those savings and redirect them towards an investment portfolio that grows at X. And, you know, historically speaking, this is what, you know, what the stock market has achieved, so let's not like, you know, go above or below that, like everything regresses to the mean, all of that stuff. It became so easy.
Yeah.
And then the golfing happened, and the networking events happen, and the conferences and the trips, and, you know, all of these things, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was running my own schedule
Yeah.
from day one, right? And it was a lot of work. You know, I had a lot of people to prove, right,
Yeah.
that this was the right decision versus going kind of into, you know, a salaried position as a teller at a bank. Those were my two options versus kind of 100% commission role. But I learned a lot. I learned, you know, how to run a budget. I learned how to run a team. I learned how to, you know, run staff. I learned how to, you know, build a practice and service clients. And, you know, how do you sell, and how do you put on events, and how do you actually, like, as a director, how do you hire and recruit, and how do you, you know, what do you look for? What do you say? How do you, like, I think the biggest success that you can look at is, like, if you're a teacher in any capacity, doesn't have to be academic, can you actually teach somebody and make them successful? And there are guys today that I'm still connected to that I hired right at a school, and they're running very successful practices. And I look at that as like, that's my success right there. That's part of my success, my past success. Yeah. Because, you know, I saw something in them. I recognized some potential, and I brought them on, and I trained them, and I put on a lot of hours and work, and they're still out there today having wonderful practices, wonderful lives, making great income. And I don't need any thanks from that.
But why that trajectory that we're talking about, right? Why not throw it all away, but why, you know, move away from that, right? I think the masters would have helped it, if anything, but you decided, you know what? I have something else that I want to do, you know? And this is around the time where I think you got married around this time as well.
I was already married.
You're already married, you know, thinking about a family.
I was a kid with a second on the way.
Yeah. And so now you've given up this growth, this trajectory that you've built for.
It would have been cruise control for me.
Why?
Impact.
Come on, man.
I'm serious.
So talk us through.
We hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Right. You know, money only does so much for you.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money. I made money I've never seen in my life before.
Yeah.
Right. And I was young, and it was easy.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's this internal reflection. There's this self-actualization around, like, okay, I'm helping people. I'm not helping my people.
Yeah.
I understood, because I don't have products and services to connect them to that. Okay. But I was helping people like that. I really wanted to help people, and I was helping them with their financial health. Let's call it that. But there's a limit to that on an individual basis, right? I managed 300 families, 350 families. And then I'm like, okay, fine. Let me help other people do the same. So, you know, at a director level, I got to hire people. I have a team, and each of them now have dozens of clients, hundreds of clients. And there was sort of an impact there. But for me, I think the essence of, you know, giving it up it's just too small.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't enough people.
The money doesn't sound too small.
It wasn't. It was very efficient.
So what was too small?
The number of people I was helping.
Oh, okay. I felt I could level of your impact.
The level of my impact. I thought I could help more people.
Mm-hmm.
And after the MBA, you know, well, there was this realization of, like, there's so much more out there. I was in a bubble.
Oh, yeah. So in the MBA, you have all these people from different worlds.
Gotcha. And like, even there were doctors that wanted to be chief of staff of the hospital, right? That was their pursuit of an MBA to move up into a leadership role.
Yeah. So get out of your bubble, expand your mind a little bit, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize I was in that much of a bubble.
Yeah.
And so getting out of the bubble, expanding my mind, really seeing that there's so much opportunity out there, and me being confident that I can make a larger impact.
Yeah.
And so I did move institutions. I actually ran the largest financial planning team at TD Bank, and I was actually it was funny because I was the first guy they hired externally.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Normally, everyone just
Internally
moves up.
moves up. But this team was the largest team. It was 50 financial planners, a multi-billion-dollar territory, like maybe 5 or 6 billion.
Yeah.
And
then you gave that up.
I gave that up in short time, like less than 6 months.
Okay, so I mean, listen.
And
Impact.
sorry.
Yeah.
Let me just. That team was 4th quartile, like bottom of the barrel.
When you started.
That's why they brought me in.
Oh, okay.
I turned that team from 4th quartile to 1st quartile in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, okay, I did that. What else?
Yeah.
And then the micromanaging started, and we need this report and that report, and I'm like, guys, like I have 50 people. The reason why we moved them from 4th to 1st in 6 months that you're commending me for is because I was at every branch every day, like meetings, one-on-one, and training and mentoring, and like, giving them that encouragement and trying to find efficient ways for them to deal with their clients and kind of meet their numbers, their KPIs. And then now you're like bogging me down with all these reports that are wasting my time. Like, where do you want me? You want me to be administrative, or you want me to be in the field?
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time for that.
It brings back memories.
So I'm serious. I was in a meeting with a bunch of let's call it like 1-2 levels up. I remember this. And everything they were talking about just didn't resonate with me. I'm just like, this is like a waste of time. And I walked out.
No way.
Yeah.
Was that one of the moments?
That was a realization of, I went from 300 people plus like my team and however many clients. And then I went to like a territory of like, let's call it 20, 30,000 clients.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like that's not enough. Like I need more impact.
Yeah.
And the startup world showed me that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. When you decided, like, you know what, it's a matter of impact. What was, you got family involved, obviously, parents are getting older, married, 1 kid on the way. What was their reaction to it? Like, doc, first you give up being a doctor and now you're giving up being,
Everybody was against me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like even, I tell this story publicly to everybody, even to like, I did a panel over the weekend. There's a bunch of high school kids, wanting to learn about entrepreneurship. I told them when I took on that job, that sales job, every time I walked through the door, my mom, usually would say assalamu alaikum to me. She wouldn't even say this. She's like, did you make money today? That was the number one question before I got in. So that was a rough patch, upsetting, it's kind of like a different form of encouragement, I guess. But like it was definitely like I need to prove everybody wrong because I know that this is the right decision. Even going back to school, like I after that MBA, it didn't stop. Like it was continuous, stop, right? Like it was 3 degrees, 10 years, part-time. Yeah. And then switching careers, switching companies, moving from corporate to startup. And that's, startup before Manzil, then Manzil. Like there's lots of change. And these are all decisions I made. Mm-hmm. These are decisions because I don't like to make decisions based on what you think.
Other people's feelings.
No, I don't want to blame you.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Right? If I make a decision,
you see a world there is a possibility of that. Like if you were to make a decision based off what I told you, like, doc, I think you should do this, and then if it doesn't go well,
either I would blame you, or I don't want you to feel bad about like some opinion or advice you gave me and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I look at it as like I'm holding myself accountable to myself. I will accept the consequences or the benefits of my actions and of my decisions. So I made these decisions, and some people will tell you they were made unilaterally. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it, but I know that was what was best for me and my family.
Yeah.
And it may have not been a short-term benefit, but certainly a long-term one.
Yeah.
And that's just the way kind of I run, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I move in life. Because if I don't have, and of course we all know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller of everything.
Yeah.
But if I don't feel like I have control, it's very difficult for me to make the decisions or find solutions to problems that are constantly coming at me day to day.
Yeah, I find it funny though, because at this point, like as long as I've known you, you say that you are wanting to reap the benefits, I guess, or accept the consequences. But as long as I've known you, when there has been a benefit, you've deflected it to people on the team, or you've went back to the fact like job's not done yet, and I think that you've sort of stayed on that sort of like focused, you've always stayed focused. And I mean, if we go back to you wanting to prove people wrong or prove yourself right, I guess more so. I mean, when it comes to family, that's I don't believe that, knowing you, and I mean the Palestinian background in you, like it's not wanting to prove your family wrong as much as it is wanting them in your corner.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not after anybody.
Yeah.
Right. There's a part of me of proving myself.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And what my ultimate capabilities are. Like I truly believe, even today, like there's still a lot in me to prove to myself. Like I have a lot more that I could do, whether it be towards my family, towards my work, towards my relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal, towards the community, right?
Yeah.
Like that capability is still untapped, that full potential.
Yeah.
And so I think it comes down to proving myself, right? And then in essence, like a side effect of that is the doubters and making sure that I bring more and more people to my corner, right? Because like hearts have been turned, towards me. If you doubted me at first, or if you undermined my intelligence at first, or you thought that maybe I wasn't going about it in the right way, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can say it. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Yeah.
But there's no point in like discussing it. I just have to kind of put the action in place, and then you'll see.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
But I think, I guess now looking back, we talked about where you were at in the beginning. We talked about the ups. We talked about the maybe I'm in the wrong place or doing the wrong thing, or maybe there's other things I could do. And then that struggle, that dip. And in my opinion, or from what I see, alhamdulillah, it's on the up and up, right? So you looking back now, do you feel like you have, like, can you close that chapter and be like, you know what, let's just, because you have a lot to focus on. Let's be real, right? Like,
what chapter am I closing?
Let's like you have a lot to focus on, right? You got your family, you've got this responsibility that you've taken on, and this company that you've taken on, and all the other stuff that you do. So is it really worth your time and energy to think about all these people along the way that have said, man, you're giving up something that you shouldn't be giving up, or you should be doing this instead? Or do you have time to think about that really? Or have you
let me make this clear. Nobody lives in my head rent free. Right?
Not even me?
Nobody. And so my focus is always around how can I be better, and how can I make the people around me better?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I'm still young. I'm still healthy. And if I have to put in a 16-hour shift, an 18-hour shift, and I end up with 4 hours of sleep, I have no issues about it. I have no qualms about it. I don't question it. I don't ask. The way I look at it is, my mentality ever since I was young was I always need to outwork. Like the only variable I can control outside of like equalizing factors of like intellect and experience and whatever you want to put in there is, well, we each have 24 hours a day. I can put in more time than you. And if I do that over a small period of time, over a long period of time, there's a compounding effect to that. If I put in an extra hour a day than you, let's say, over the next 365 days, that's an extra 365 hours that I've bettered myself, I've outperformed, I've learned something, and that's going to be my advantage. And over multiple years, it's hard for you to catch up at that point, right? It's thousands and thousands of hours of dedicated additional hours to get out there so that I better myself and I put myself and my team and my family in a position where we can't be outworked.
Yeah. Can you apply this to all parts of your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Like, and I'm not saying, don't impact your health, don't impact your sleep. But there are times where you have to make decisions, around opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Right. You have to make decisions around, well, this particular thing that I have, or this day that I have where maybe I have to be across the city 5-6 times, maybe I'm double booked, I'm going to split my time. I used to call myself like a yes man. I've now shifted away from, okay, I'm a yes man, to saying, well, I'm more strategic about who do I say yes to or what events I say yes to, because I want to strategically place myself that allows me to leverage, right? The network around me allows me to leverage kind of all the past experiences that I've had and put myself in a position of strength versus a position of weakness. And a lot of people say, oh man, like, why are you wasting your time? I don't have the time. I'd rather just stay home and chill out. I can't tell you how many times, like, from something I did 2 years ago, it became relevant and it helped me.
Yeah.
Right. Or, a conversation was had and it kind of came full circle months later, years later. And I never knew there was no opportunity then.
Yeah.
But, years later, you're like, oh, if I didn't do that. So there is this like inner desire or inner burning desire of like, I don't want to miss out on an opportunity that might yield some results. I just want to keep planting seeds. That's all I want to do is just plant a seed here, plant a seed there, get in front of somebody. You never know who you get. Like, I remember even before Manzil, I used to wake up and I say, I don't know what Allah's planned for me today, but there could be something good.
Yeah.
And when something good happens, and it was never daily,
you're
just like, man, thank God I woke up today and had a positive attitude. Like, I didn't see this coming my way. And then you try and say, well, what did I do to deserve this? And okay, maybe it was like that sadaqah thing that you did, or maybe because you helped somebody out. So you try and kind of link, right? That
as a human, that's naturally.
You're trying to, right? Because you're just like, okay, well, if I do more of that, then maybe I get more of this. And you want that perpetual cycle of good, right?
Yeah. And, we plan and Allah plans. And indeed, Allah is the best of all planners. I mean, I was talking to Amar on the way over and I was telling him, like, we live in a world of lagging results, right? Like, whatever is happening today, I mean, obviously it's from Allah, and it's also from what the position that Allah put you in or had you do, or the decisions that you made from a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even a few months ago sometimes. And so we're always in that position. And so therefore what you do today will impact a year or 2 years later, you know?
Absolutely.
So you solidifying that thought is definitely, there, but Jazakallah khair. I think I appreciate all of that. And I believe, I do think that it was very impactful for the listeners. And we'll wrap it up because of time. But before we do, I'm going to give you a moment if there's anything else that you want to share before we head out. Just reflecting on everything that we talked about,
Yeah, I think the reflection for the audience is that you want to focus on progress. A lot of times there's this notion of instant gratification. We're also human beings where, there's this, mode of insatiable demand. Like the iPhone 15 is here today and the iPhone 16 comes out next year, but my iPhone 15 is still working, but I still want the iPhone 16. Like, that's insatiable. It's just, it's never ending demand for ourselves for material. And I've always looked at kind of what I do as like, okay, I should be doing more, or I wanted to achieve more by this time. But if you don't reflect and say, well, no, there's actually progress made,
Mm.
you know, you can go crazy without
Yeah.
that connecting those dots. And so I would tell people, like, just focus on progress, whether it's personal, internal, external, even in your business. Like, even if it's just an extra hour a day. Today, if I put an extra hour today versus you'd be like, whatever. It's an hour. But after a month, an extra 30 hours, that's almost a work week, right?
Yeah.
After 6 months, 180 hours, it's more than a month and a half of extra work, right? So the compounding effect takes time. And when we're looking back, just focus on, has there been progress along the way? And if there has, then you should be satisfied and content and say, Alhamdulillah. That's it.
Because the results are not in your hand.
No.
Right?
The results are a byproduct, right, of that execution, right, of that action.
Yeah.
Right. So if you put in the action, you don't know how fast those results are going to come, because Allah Razak, but you certainly can be satisfied with yourself and content with yourself to say, you know what, I did everything that I possibly could today and within the last year.
Yeah. No, Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. And Jazakallah khair for, listening to another episode. I believe that, it was impactful for me, and I work with you every day, and there's some things that I haven't heard before. So I appreciate that. And I know that, for all of the listeners, I think it was an impactful conversation, something that you guys should all share with family and friends, that, a story about what it's like to work hard, inspiring to have more of an impact, and being able to navigate this world and what it has to offer to try and pull you away from what we're actually here to accomplish, So I do believe everyone needs a dose of that. So please do share it with friends and family, like, subscribe, comment, and inshallah till next time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
What's up, man? Come on.